This is the Atlanta Police Department. If you're inside the red or green tent, please come out with your hands up.
First at 11, we are getting a new look at the moments law enforcement closed in and shot a protester at a planned police and fire training facility. That protester, Manuel Esteban Paez-Terran, was killed and an unnamed Georgia State Patrol trooper was injured.
And just hours ago, Atlanta police released roughly 2 hours of body cam video. So here's how it all unfolded.
Now, one of the things, ladies and gentlemen, and by the way, I'm in the car obviously now, I'm on the road, and the amazing Heather Holt sent me this video this morning. I wanted to get this right out to you, and make sure to subscribe to Heather Holt. I'll put her link in the description. But these media people almost always take the side of the police, unfiltered, unvarnished, unquestioned, no critical thinking, as if the police are the truth tellers and whatever they say is what actually happened. Let's continue.
Everybody activate their cameras.
Like an infantry squad, APD officers slowly move through these woods. They zero in on this tent right here.
This is the Atlanta Police Department.
Like an infantry squad. Why would they use those words? It's giving respect to these pieces of garbage who like to unalive people and then cover it up constantly.
Please come out with your hands up.
And begin to rip it apart. No one's in it, but one officer is concerned about what he found inside.
Gasoline, anything that can be used to hurt.
And they're right away going to gasoline. Now, by the way, the people are protesting. There's a super cop facility that's going to train cops in Atlanta. And they were protesting the building of that it was going to damage forest land. And they're in the middle of the freaking forest, minding their own business, protesting. They have a right to protest. They are hurting no one, but cops will always make any situation 1,000 times worse. Don't comply, or you die.
They continue their patrol. 4 distinct shots are heard. Listen.
Now, I've got to take these out. Otherwise, this video will not be seen on this platform. But imagine about, and I'm estimating 40 to 50 to 60 of those sounds that you would hear toward one man who may have been unarmed. And his hands were up, by the way. An autopsy that the family asked for after he was unalived by the police found that he was that thing through his hand and the other hand, and his palms were up. He was in a surrender position when 35, 45, 50 or more of those things that fly through the air very quickly were directed at that gentleman.
And then dozens.
Is this target practice?
Officers appear to be confused until they figure out it's not target practice, and gunfire is close by. They take cover behind trees.
Hey, don't move forward. Hold what you got.
Little fraidy cats. No matter what, they're afraid. No communication, by the way, because that was SWAT that was doing those things, making those projectiles fly through the air from that man who had his hands up. No coordination between Atlanta PD either.
They can't see what has happened and wait to get a clearer picture on police radio, and then they hear this.
One officer down. What agency is that? It's GSP SWAT.
Is there an active shooter in the woods?
GSP SWAT. That's who was involved in that thing.
Active shooter. Subject is barricaded in a tent.
By the way, that barricaded suspect was later identified as Manuel Esteban Paez-Terran. So here's what's next here, folks. Last week, there was an agreement for a construction permit to be issued for the Public Safety Training Center. And late tonight, we just learned that Atlanta police are now shifting their resources to secure the property to protect those working crews. Now, we have uploaded the full body cam video online right now. You can see it right there. Just head over to 11 Alive's YouTube page.
And by the way,
This is the Atlanta Police Department.
And by the way, this was on YouTube. And ABC News has over 1 million subscribers. However, in 30 days, the video has only received 1.1 thousand views because it was unallowed by this place we are collectively seeing this now. I want to be able to get the truth out to you, but it's a challenge when we are not given the opportunity to be completely truthful. Otherwise, you will not see this on this page, shall we say. Now, there's so many questions, so many unanswered questions. What was GSP SWAT doing in the middle of the woods? Where was the crime here? Who was the victim other than the person who was eliminated by GSP SWAT while both of his hands were up in the air? And you can't pose a threat to someone when both of your hands are up in the air and the GSP SWAT is most likely many, many, many yards away from that person. But we have no body cam of the GSP SWAT because apparently either there wasn't any or they don't want to release it. And this is part of my police reform. Body cam always has to be on, cannot be turned off, either muted or video turned off, otherwise a felony and instant prison time for a cop who does that, because it's all about cover-up. We want the truth. And I'm going to share with you an article here, give you more background on this. And again, I'm in the car. Usually don't do these in the car, but I'm on the road. I wanted to get this out to you. And this is an article that came out March 11th, yesterday, 2023. Atlanta cop city activist had hands up when fatally shot by police. And this is a picture of protesters held a sign of a turtle to honor Manuel Tortuga, and I may be saying the name incorrectly, forgive me please, Tortuguita Turan, an activist who was unalived by police. Now, an activist killed by Georgia state troopers while protesting the planned development of a police training center had their hands up at a time of the fatal shooting, according to lawyers for their family. Manuel Turan, 26, was among dozens of people protesting at the intended site of the facility dubbed Cop City by critics. Now, it's the intended site. It's freaking woods, ladies and gentlemen. Why did this have to escalate like this? The fucking cops do this constantly, then they cover it up, and they lie constantly, never apologize, almost never admit wrongdoing when wrongdoing is a cop's middle name. Manuel Turan, 26, was among dozens of people protesting at the intended site of the facility dubbed Cop City by critics outside of Atlanta when he was shot in January. Though authorities have so far maintained that Turan had a gun and fired on officers before they shot back, striking Turan 13 times. And by the way, I heard the actual video, which again, I cannot play for you here, but it sounded like the 4th of July times 100 in a course of about 10, 15, 20 seconds. I mean, it was an elimination. It was a firing squad. In a statement released to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on Friday, civil rights attorneys Brian Spears and Jeff Filipovitz said an independent autopsy commissioned by the family showed Turan was facing multiple individuals during the shooting and had their hands and arms raised in front of his body. Manuel's left and right hands show exit wounds in both palms, the statement said. The autopsy further revealed that Manuel was most probably in a seated position, cross-legged when killed. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, aka known liars, I'm going to say alleged known liars, that's for legal purposes, said Turan was fired on after an officer was shot in the abdomen and fired back in self-defense. We haven't seen any video of this. If that were true, why hasn't the video been released so far, ladies and gentlemen? Cops love to prove their innocence, so where's the fucking footage? A bullet that struck this trooper was linked to a gun found at the scene and belonging to Turan, according to the GBI, but alas, there is no body camera footage of the shooting. How convenient. You think really the Georgia Bureau of Investigation didn't have body cameras on? What are they hiding? They probably were on. They don't want us to see the truth. They want to create the narrative. Always question the narrative, especially if it's given by the cops or the mainstream media. Lawyers for Tehran's family said they have filed a civil lawsuit against the GBI demanding access to records, including an autopsy report from the Bureau that it refuses to release. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They don't have the freaking right to refuse it. We, the people, are the bosses. They are our servants. But we have allowed them to become the masters. They don't get this option. Contact Atlanta police, Atlanta local politicians, state politicians, national politicians, the Georgia Bureau as well, GBI, demand the immediately unredacted, unedited, and full release of all body cam footage and reports to we the people. They are our reports. Our video. During its investigation, the GBI has selectively released information framing its narrative while actively preventing Manuel's family from obtaining any information. Filipovitz said in a statement to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The GBI will not even tell us what type of evidence it has. Now it says that the city of Atlanta cannot release the public records sought by Manuel's family. There are records. How dare you? Critics of the new facility argue that the 85-acre site would be turned into a training ground for urban warfare, while also wasting millions in taxpayer money and damaging the environment. Earlier this week, more than 20 activists were arrested on suspicion of domestic terrorism, though the probable cause that authorities use for that charge may be shaky. Protesters in 2023 being arrested for domestic terrorism. We can't allow this to happen. Police cited arrestees having mud on their shoes in a forest. That is a major crime. Those dirty protestees, how dare them not keep squeaky clean, shiny, perfectly beautiful shoes while in the middle of a freaking forest. The warrants alleged that they had written a legal support phone number on their arms, as is common during mass protests. And in a few cases, police alleged protesters were holding shields. Hardly proof of illegal activity, which a number of defendants even deny. Attorneys for Tehran's family plan to hold a press conference Monday to discuss details of their lawsuit against the GBI and the newest autopsy findings. Belkis Tehran, the activist's mother, spoke at a rally Thursday demanding justice for her child. Tortuguita is alive in our hearts, the mother said. My prayer is that the blood of my son will speak in all our hearts. We are going to win. And when they win, we win. Because an injustice done to one of us is an injustice done to all of us. And that's why you, myself, we the people need to take a stand, contact these government officials, demand the truth, demand the video, demand the reports, demand justice, demand accountability, demand no qualified immunity to the cops who did this to Manuel. Without action, there's just a whole bunch of people on social media thinking that they're doing something. Posting alone is not enough. Creating a video that I'm doing alone is not enough. I give you a call to action, always peaceful, but a call to action. Take action, contact the public officials, and don't stop until we get what we the people demand, and that Manuel and thousands like him throughout the U.S. get justice as well. This is Leroy Truth. Till next time.